Once upon a time, Kibbe used faces in body typing. Even though we don't use faces anymore, there is still very much this understanding within the body typing community of like a soft natural face or a flamboyant gamine face, and it's very different to essences. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down the 10 body types and their equivalent face types to help you guys get an idea of what that would look like. My name is Ellie-Jean, I'm a personal stylist, and on this channel we use body types to elevate our personal style and end the war with our wardrobes. So Kibbe, a few years ago in the Strictly Kibbe Facebook group, revealed that he no longer uses faces to help you find your body type, which is still quite a controversial decision actually. It's one that I agree with, but it's one that a lot of people find quite confusing and quite difficult to work with. So the reason he did this is that it can be very easy to confuse someone's face type with their body type and kind of use their facial features as the defining characteristic and not look any further at the body to kind of make their conclusions and kind of make their assumptions based on someone's face, because obviously the face is the thing we see first. It's kind of what we're trained to do, it's how we recognize people, so people kind of tend to define people by their face types, and that was completely wrong. The body is basically the most important thing in Kibbe body type, so he kind of scrapped that. For example, Christina Ricci very much has a gamine face, but she has a romantic body, and still a lot of people struggle to accept this because she has such a gamine face. But in fact, her shoulders are very soft and little, she has a lot of roundness and a lot of round, soft shapes in her frame, which make her a very obvious romantic once you get past her face. However, there is such a concept of like a soft natural face that in the body typing community we do tend to understand what that looks like, and it is a pattern that we see again and again and again because your body kind of bone structure is reflected in your face, and they do tend to be connected, which makes a lot of sense when you think about it. It's not always the case, but it is often the case, and sometimes you can see a very clear connection between someone's body type and their face. So how is this different to essences? Now, you may be familiar with the 7 Kitchener essences devised by a man called John Kitchener, and this idea is that there are 7 essences based on yin and yang balance, so same kind of principle as Kibbe body types, and they are very much connected. But his idea is related to the face, but there's only 7 types, and they're kind of separate to body type. So for example, you could have a very flamboyant natural looking face but still have some ethereal essence there, so you can have more than one. It's very much like an addition to body types. There's lots of layers, it's all very complicated. So let's break down the 10 body types and their equivalent face types. Dramatics, like the body type equivalent, their faces are very elongated and sharp, so their faces will be quite narrow. They'll have very sharp cheekbones, they'll have a very sharp jawline, their noses will be sharp, their eyes will be kind of almond shaped, the lips will be sharp also, so nothing in their face will be particularly lush, and they'll have quite a strong, intense feel to them. If we look at Taylor Swift, I think she has a very dramatic face, even though she doesn't have dramatic essence. You know, Taylor, we don't really see her as like a bold, theatrical kind of woman. We don't really see her as like this kind of dangerous looking kind of woman. She very much has this sweet, innocent feel that is very harmonious with the outfits that she tends to wear, and it doesn't look like she's forcing anything when she wears like a floral dress, and that's her ingenue essence coming through. But if you look at her facial structure, she actually has quite a sharp nose, she has high cheekbones, her face is long, her lips are very sharp, and I can remember being so jealous of her lips when I was growing up because her cupid's bow is like so sharp, like it looks like it's cut with a knife, and I think that comes from that connection to her dramatic body. You can see she has almond eyes, they're not particularly round, so actually a lot in her facial structure is very dramatic. Soft dramatics will have the same bone dominant structure in their face, and that's how you tell a yang dominant type. Their facial structure is kind of defined by their bones rather than like their eyes, their lips, their nose, that kind of thing. So you can see that their bone structure is very prominent, very dominant, it all rhymes, and it tends to be the thing which defines their features. Whereas on a yin type, their bones will be a lot softer, so they might have like rounder faces, for for example, and it'll be their eyes, their lips and nose which define their features and are the most obvious thing that you see about their face. So soft dramatics will also have like those high cheekbones, some dominance in the jawline, low foreheads, they might have, but they'll have some lush soft features in their kind of face. So they might have slightly round eyes, they might have some softness in the nose, they're likely to have sort of large lush lips. Flamboyant naturals are known for having sort of friendly looking faces with a couple of like irregularities, and their facial structure is known for being blunt. So rather than dramatics who are very sharp, very like clean lines, like very chiseled, flamboyant naturals are much more blunt. So whereas a dramatic might have a very pointed chin, a flamboyant natural's going to have a more blunt chin. Their noses will be straight, but maybe with like some bumps in their nose. They have high cheekbones, they're likely to have almond eyes, and they're likely to have a lot of kind of medium, rather than dramatics which have much more of a large facial structure, and naturals do as well, flamboyant naturals do too, but it's slightly more medium than a dramatic. Soft naturals for me is the most easily recognizable face type out there. I don't know why, it just clicks with me. No, not the most. Gamines is the most, but soft naturals, it clicks with me so much. I feel like I can recognize one straight away. They have very, very lush, soft facial features, so they might have slightly round eyes, soft but often slightly blunt nose. They'll have like a combination there. They tend to have quite large, lush lips, but they'll have bluntness in the chin and jawline, same as flamboyant naturals, and they tend to have that kind of rectangular element to their bone structure because they're yang dominant, but with that soft yin undercurrent. Now classics in face type are the same as body type in the sense that they are very much average, they are very much in the middle, they are balanced, they are kind of in and in between, everything's medium sized. So their face won't be overly long, but it won't be overly short, it will be in the middle. But dramatic classics tend to have some slight sharp elements. So they might have almond eyes, they might have a slightly sharp nose, they might have slightly sharp pointed lips, they might have slightly high cheekbones, but they won't have all of these elements. All of their face will mostly just be in the middle, and they'll look neither harsh nor particularly soft. Same applies for soft classics, except they will have some softness in their facial features. I feel like Kirsten Dunst has such a soft classic face, because you can see that she feels very soft and she definitely has ingenue essence. You can see that there's a lot of youthfulness to those features. She has slightly round eyes, slightly soft nose, she has a slight roundness in her face, but she doesn't look overly youthful or overly delicate. She still has a slight sense of maturity in her features, and that is that classic balanced bone structure coming through. I feel like I get on the Strictly Kibbe groups a lot that I have a very soft classic face, even though I have a variety of essences. Soft classic I tend to get a lot, and especially I think in real life, even more so than through the camera. Through the camera I think I give off a lot more of an ingenue vibe than I do in real life. Next to my friends, it's very clear that I don't have those very sweet little tiny facial features. My face is much more in the middle. Now gamine is the most recognizable face type of all time. I feel like it's the first thing that you really start to understand in Kibbe for a lot of people. The gamine is just so recognizable, so iconic, and we see them a lot in certain roles, and it just kind of clicks a lot. So the gamine has a pixie-like facial features, and you'll often hear that they have contrasted facial features, which is true, but it's in kind of like a specific way. So they'll have like a sharp jawline, small face, very small. Gamines are the smallest of all of the types. A lot of people think it's romantics, but actually gamines are the most petite. Slightly high cheekbones, but they tend to have very large, round eyes, and this is so recognizable. And I think it's because their face is so small and tiny and sharp that those large round eyes stand out so much. You instantly see that and you're like, gamine. So flamboyant gamines tend to have a little bit more sharpness and bluntness in their face, so they might have a slightly harsher jawline, they might have slightly higher cheekbones, they might have a slightly sharp nose, whereas soft gamine faces also have all the features mentioned before, but with some slight softness. So they might have a slightly more round jawline, they might have a slightly softer nose, even larger eyes, slightly lush lips. Theatrical romantic faces are quite similar to soft gamine faces in the sense that they're also quite petite and little, but they tend to be more sharp in the sense that they give more of a mature vibe. They're slightly less petite in their face than a soft gamine. Theatrical romantic faces tend to have romantic essence. They tend to appear very sensual and very kind of glamorous looking. It's just the, oh god, there's a bee in here. They tend to have very glamorous looking faces, but yeah, they'll have that same kind of like sharpness in their jawline and in their cheekbones, but they won't have such large round eyes, but they will have more lush lips, soft nose, that kind of thing. And pure romantics, of course, have round face shapes, very soft full nose, lush lips, large round eyes, low cheekbones, and everything about them is very soft, round, delicate. So let me know which of the 10 body types you think you are based on your face type below. I don't recommend this to find your body type, neither does David Kibbe, but it might give you a slight indication maybe if you're between two types, and it's also just a little bit fun. That's the whole point of all of this. If you've enjoyed this video, I think you'll enjoy my video on the 7 face types, i.e. 7 essences devised by John Kitchener, which is, by the way, like I've said, a completely different thing, so don't get yourself confused. If you want to know my opinion on your body type and face type, make sure to head to bodyandstyle.com and I will do that for you. And make sure also to check out my new Notion templates, which I am offering you guys. The link is also in the description. They are such amazing resources. For example, there is a template in there to help you find your aesthetic based on your style roots, and there's over 60 aesthetics in there, and I'm updating it all the time. So that should be really helpful for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time.